ready now. Joining us now is Mets minor league outfielder Patrick Biondi. Welcome to the show, Patrick.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, so Patrick, I'm going to start you off. Welcome to the podcast. I'm going to start you off with our first question, and we're just going to jump right into it so we can get as much out of you as possible.
Sounds good.
All right, so my first question for you. So obviously you got called up this year. Congratulations on that. That was an awesome accomplishment for you. What was that feeling like for the first appearance in the AAA team of the organization you've been playing your whole entire career with?
Going into the year, I felt like I had a really good spring training, so I was really happy with how that went. And then starting the season in AAA Vegas, I was really excited to move up a level and have a chance to compete and hopefully get called up. So I was definitely really excited to start the year in AAA and just continue to work on my game and try to get ready for playing in the major leagues.
Okay, Patrick, John here. Thank you for coming on the show, first off. I really appreciate it. This is our first show, so it's really awesome to have you as our first guest. My question for you is...
Glad to be the first guest.
Awesome. It's just awesome. My first question for you is, what was the difference between coaching styles between both of your hitting coaches in AA and AAA? Was there a difference? Did it affect you in any way?
I think when you get to that level, it's more just the personality. So Valentino Pascucci in AA was a little bit more laid back. Anytime you wanted to work with him, he was more than willing to work, but he wasn't going to talk to you in between at bats. He was going to kind of let you do your thing. Whereas Chimmy in AAA was a little bit more hands-on, a little bit more wanted to know what you were thinking and seeing from at bat to at bat. So I think it's more just that personal style of how to talk to hitters and communicate, more so than anything mechanical or approach-wise.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. Jake again. So when you started off in AAA this year, just looking at your numbers, because I'm sort of the numbers guy. I love to look at splits and stuff. It looked like you were hitting a lot more ground balls in AAA. Do you think that's attributed to the pitching style that was in AAA, or what would you attribute that to?
You know what? I'm not really sure. I don't know what the numbers are off the top of my head, but I think part of it might just be a smaller sample size. Especially in AAA this year, I was playing a lot, like coming in and pinch hitting a lot, playing, every 2 or 3 days. So there was a little bit of inconsistency where maybe the numbers are a little bit off. Because, I don't think I really did anything too drastically different approach-wise. But, again, I think every season is just about learning a little bit more about yourself as a player and as a person and understanding how to be more consistent. And so that's kind of the way I looked at this past year was just growing as an individual and as a player so that I can be more consistent and be ready to help the major league team when that time comes.
All right. Mets prospect outfielder Patrick Biondi with us. My question is Ty Kelly just completed it was sort of like an op-ed for Metsmerized. He's a teammate of yours. Throughout his editorial, he talked about the struggles that minor leaguers face throughout the season concerning like a looming demotion or something like that. Does prospects of a promotion or demotion ever get to your, ever come up in your mind? Do you ever think about it?
Yeah, I think you definitely think about it if I'm answering that question honestly. But I think one of the challenges is learning how to let go of that and focus more on what you're doing at that time. And obviously that can be a little bit challenging because of the longevity of the season, because of the longevity of trying to make it to the major leagues. There's a lot of frustration and anticipation that comes up and pressure, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, that's definitely there. But I think for me, It's been more about learning how to let go of that and focus more on my routine and playing the game the way that I'm capable of playing the game, so that no matter where I'm at, I'll be able to perform.
Okay. Jake again. So you've obviously been a mainstay in the Mets organization since 2013 when you were drafted. Coming out of college, is there something that you attribute to the organization itself that they helped you grow and helped you improve on throughout your game? Like, is there a specific piece of your game that you think has grown a lot since your college career?
That's an interesting question. I think there's so much work that goes into it, a lot of it in the swing and hitting, and I've seen my swing change so much from the time I was in college to now that there's a lot of people I've worked with that have kind of helped me to fine-tune it and continue to improve. So I would say that's probably one area that gets a lot of the attention. I think maybe an area that I feel like I've grown a lot are just like little parts of the game. So like being able to talk with like a catching coordinator like Rob Nadel and hear a catcher's perspective on what he's looking for from a base stealer, or different things to look for from a pitcher or from a catcher when you're trying to steal a base. I think just little intricacies of the game like that are what you get the most from your coaches who have a ton of experience and have played the game at a really high level.
All right, Patrick Biondi with us here. My next question is the Mets Major League team. They do have some holes on their roster in the outfield position, especially in the center field position. Of course, you play that and play it well, might I say. Has this affected the way you have been preparing for the 2019 season, or has it had very little impact on the way you prepare?
I don't think I've thought about that at all, no. I think for me the shift has been to shrink my focus a little bit and focus on what I'm doing, both mentally and physically, to prepare for the season. And I do think, though, that my mindset has changed where I am thinking about how I can help the Major League team, where before, you're just kind of battling, trying to do everything you can just to get to the Major Leagues. I feel like now I'm looking at it, and like you said, like we have a really good roster in the big leagues, a team that's probably going to be in contention this year. So I just want to prepare myself to be able to help that team in any way I can.
All right. Yeah. That's something I really respect, and I mean, a lot of people might just look to the top and try and shoot there, but you got to take it one step at a time and improve within yourself. And I think that's a big thing for a ball player to recognize. Speaking of that mentality as a baseball player, what is? I always find this so interesting because I feel like it changes between players when they talk about it. But what is your approach during the first pitch when you come up to bat? Like what do you? I mean, obviously you're looking fastball. A lot of people look fastball. But what is going on throughout your mind? What is there any like tics that you have? Any traditions? Anything like that?
There's no traditions or anything that I have, but I think for me, like, what I'm looking for in the first pitch is different depending on the at-bat, especially as a type of hitter that's looked to get on base. There's definitely times where I'll go up and not be swinging at the first pitch, whether it's to see a guy that I've never faced before or just to try to work a count late in the game when we need a base runner or something like that. So I think it kind of varies depending on the situation, especially with just like what my role is for the team.